This
EDX
conference
Lunch and
will
Learn.
now be recorded.
And as you just heard, we are recording this not for any nefarious purposes or to play gotcha or anything like that. We do record these and put these on our website. Give us a few days to get that done, though. But it'll be on our website, renville.com. Knowing that this time of day and day of week doesn't work out for everybody to drop everything and to attend this event live online. So we record it, and folks can come back and watch this and get all kinds of neat ideas and learn from our speakers. So, well, I'm Jordan Zeller. I'm the economic developer for Renville County. Just wanting to introduce myself and welcome you to our Renville County HRA EDA Lunch and Learn. Every month, a completely different topic. Next month, we are going to be talking about year-end taxes for businesses, things businesses should be doing now or holding off and waiting to do until the calendar flips into 2024. So that'll be our next month's Lunch and Learn. We have a standing meeting doing this on the second Wednesday of every month over the noon hour and in an online format. We use the same link every month, so you can bookmark that if that works for you too, and keep that on your calendar. So this month, October, is National Women's Small Business Month, and our speaker is Kathy Helene. She is an import into Renville County. She comes all the way to us from the big town of Willmar, Minnesota, where she grew up, and she's a graduate of the University of Minnesota Crookston. You may know her husband, Greg Helene. She moved to Olivia in 2010, and her husband and family have Northern Plumbing and Heating in that business. And Kathy recently launched a teen coaching business, Bearcat Coaching and Mindset, with the goal of helping student athletes around the world gain confidence and learn tools that can help them excel in life. Kathy and Greg have 4 kids, so they stay super busy and staying healthy in sports and coaching and hunting and fishing and traveling and all that fun stuff. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kathy. Thank you so much for making the time to chat with us today.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for inviting me, Jordan. I'm honored to be here and excited to speak to you all. I didn't want to keep this boring. I wanted to keep it interactive and hopefully inspire you. I'm going to share my screen and just kind of share my story. You know, the things that I have built and worked on over the last, decade or so. I've created habits and different things in my life that have helped me to where I am today. And as I go through my journey, I hope it inspires you to think about your own. So, Jordan, can you see my screen okay?
You betcha.
All right, good, perfect. Well, again, I'm Kathy Helene. My husband Greg and I own Northern Services here in town. We did rebrand a couple years ago from Northern Plumbing and Heating to Northern Services. His dad started the business in 1981, and he took it over in 2007, and I came in 2010. I'll get more to that. And I also just launched teen student athlete coaching, Bearcat Coaching and Mindset. And again, I'll get more to that in a little bit. All right, so a little bit about me, just to give you a little background. We do have 4 children. We're super busy with coaching, raising our kids, hunting, fishing, as you can see. I always tell my husband that basketball was my first love. He's the love of my life. So I played basketball in college and busy coaching my kids. And actually, I just had an interview this morning for the junior high girls basketball coaching position at Bold. So trying to dip my feet in again and get to that. So one of my biggest people that impacted my life, and I don't know if any of you know who this is, but this is Pat Summitt. She coached the Tennessee Lady Bulls. She coached from 1974 to 2012, and she passed away from Alzheimer's not too long ago, but this woman had a huge impact on my life. And I'm going to list out Pat Summitt's definite dozen because I think it can relate to all of us, not only in athletics when I'm speaking to teens, but also in business. So number 1 is respect yourself and others. 2, take full responsibility. When I started taking responsibility for things in my life, it didn't matter what it was, things started to change dramatically. Develop and demonstrate loyalty, have loyalty to people, learn and be a great communicator. Communication is everything. It doesn't matter if it's with our kids, with our spouse, with our coworkers, however that may be. Learn how to communicate appropriately. Discipline yourself so no one else has to. Discipline is a huge word in my life. I even tattooed it on my arm. I I use discipline every single day. You know, you can be motivated for a certain amount of time, but nothing can replace discipline. Motivation goes away. Make hard work your passion. Don't just work hard, work smart. Put the team before yourself, and that's anything. Our team at Northern Services, we put them before ourselves, you know, our family, things like that. Make winning an attitude. When you start to think positively and think about what's the best that could happen instead of what's the worst that could happen, your life starts to change. Be a competitor. Change is a must. We're always changing, always growing, and then handle success like you handle failure. So those are some lessons from her. One of the things in my life is, as I talk about, you know, the things that I've gone through and what has led me up to today, is I thought my life was going to be this straight line. And in fact, it doesn't go like that. And you think it's going to go like that for your kids too, but there's little loops and twists and turns and bumps, and it doesn't exactly look like what you think it should look like, and that's okay. It's okay to be put in a different direction and realizing that things are happening for you and not to you. So a little bit about, you touched on this. I graduated from Willmar in 2000, so made the big commute from Willmar to Olivia, for where I grew up to here. After I graduated high school, I did not know what I wanted to go into. I went to the University of Minnesota Crookston, and I will be honest with you, I went to go play basketball. That's the only thing that I knew that I wanted to do. And I chose sport management because I love athletics and I love sports, and I got a minor in coaching, not knowing where this would bring me to. So once I graduated, I was done playing basketball. Basketball was the only place that I had confidence. And that's why my heart goes out to teens that lack confidence and that kind of thing. I was comfortable going to school, so I enrolled at the University of Minnesota in the Twin Cities and landed a grad assistantship in their sports communication office. Just as of late, I joined Teen Coaching Academy. They're out of Australia. I do more education with them on learning how to coach teens, and just education in general. And it doesn't have to be traditional. It could be non-traditional, whatever that may be for you. Just never stop learning. So some of my experiences, you'll see it's a lot of athletics and sports. I built everything up in my education, everything there for athletic career. And, you know, I did camps for Willmar, for University of Minnesota Crookston. I did camps for the Timberwolves. I did camps for Flip Saunders and his son, Ryan, you see there pictured. The Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference, I did an internship. I worked for the Gophers, Minnesota Lynx, did game day stuff for the Vikings, Pacesetter camps, Women's Basketball Coaches Association, did Final Fours with them, and then Bold Athletics. So as you can see, it was very athletic driven. And then my work experience and where that brought me to. So I started waitressing when I went to grad school at Rush Creek in the Twin Cities in Maple Grove. And then after grad school, I got the internship down in Atlanta with the WBCA, and then took a job at my alma mater as a senior women's administrator, assistant athletic director. Like, I thought all my dreams had come true. Everything I'd worked for now had come to this point. I'm an athletic director or assistant athletic director at the age of 24, living the dream, right? Until I realized, I looked around and there wasn't much of a family life. And I was really far away from my family. My brothers were in the Twin Cities, my parents in Willmar, and I craved to be closer to family. So I quit my job after 1 year without having a job. And connections are everything. The gal that applied for my job happened to work at Capella University and coach at De La Salle High School in Minneapolis. She said there's a position open at Capella, and she was moving up that direction. And she said there's even a coaching position at De La Salle. We basically flip-flop spots. I worked in their events department at Capella, downtown Minneapolis, and traveled all over the nation for about 3 years. And then I met this guy from Olivia named Greg Colleen, and he completely changed my life. We started dating, and in 2009, I moved out to Olivia and worked from home a little bit and traveled all over the country still. And once we got married in 2010, I joined Northern Plumbing and Heating at the time in the office. So imagine newlywed, just quit my corporate job, moved to a small town from Minneapolis, and now I'm working with my husband and his father. So quite the difference from what I was doing before to this. And I couldn't ask for a better blessing to marry into a family, to have that parent support close by with my parents and his parents. His mom's done daycare for 40 years, raising a family here, our amazing customers, the business that Arvid had built, and we could take over. He never looked over my shoulder questioning what I did. He just handed it off and said, I believe in you. So super incredible experience. And then to be able to work with my husband, who's my best friend, that not everybody can work with their spouse, and it works for us. During that time, I started coaching in 2009 under Brian Kingery and helped with the girls basketball program. I don't know if I could ever step away from the game completely. It's just always been a part of my life and a passion of mine. And I have found out through the years that it is a passion because I love to help people realize their potential and gain confidence, because that's where I gain confidence. And then I opened a little gym called Tula Mind Body Spirit. It was a group fitness studio, and I partnered with some amazing people within the community that could also teach yoga, Zumba, kettlebells, different classes, and offer that through the studio. And we built a really cool community, and it's something that I loved and I was passionate about. I had my fourth child during the time, and just very supportive. And something in 2020 happened. You probably all know what that is. And it put a little bit of a damper on live classes, and it made it really difficult. At that time, we were trying to grow Northern Services more. I had just stepped down from coaching. Like I said, we have 4 kids, and put my focus into Northern Services and personal growth and trying to grow that. So it was a big identity shift for me. And some of you can probably relate. Maybe you're going from one career to another. Maybe, your life's changing, you're having kids, or you're getting married, or you're empty nesters. Your identity changes. And it took a lot of soul searching for me to find out what my true passion is and how I can serve people. I have our team at Northern Services, and I love serving them, and they're unbelievable. But there was some other piece to the puzzle that I was missing from coaching. And that's where Bearcat Coaching and Mindset stem from. It's the ability to teach teens tools and tactics to overcome different, trials and things that they're going through and gain confidence in their life and what they're doing. So it's, I talk about a journey and what has happened in my life, all these different things that have happened. And people may have thought I was crazy for quitting my corporate job or moving out here or working in a plumbing industry when sports are my passion. But everything that I've learned along the way has led up to this, and I'm excited for what this will become in the future too. So I'm going to stop share here if I can find it. There we go. So Jordan, that's what I have for a little bit about me, my journey, about Northern Services, about Bearcat Coaching. What other questions do you have?
Advice, I would say maybe some advice for somebody who's in your position. I think pretty much everybody at one point in time, kind of like you said, I have no idea what I want to do, what I want to see. I'll be honest with you, I've kind of lucked into everything I've done too, kind of by pure luck. I got a business degree, good, bad, or otherwise, and like I always say, I'd rather be lucky than good. But yeah, so maybe speak a little bit on that if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I would call it luck. I would call it, you're willing to take a chance on people that you meet, or, connections that you make, and you have to take action. So, it's our responsibility to take action on the things that are presented to us. If I wouldn't have pursued certain things, or if you're not pursuing certain things, you're not having action towards something that maybe is important in your life. So find out what drives your soul purpose, like what feeds you. For me, it's serving other people and watching other people flourish and grow. Like there's nothing better than having one of our employees at Northern Services say they were able to buy a farm, they got married, they're having children, they are overcoming different things that they've dealt with for years, because they're strengthening their personal development and growth within that. So find out what really drives you and dig deep in that. Like there's so much that you can do to self-reflect and figure out what makes you you.
Awesome. You know, you mentioned Pat Summit, with the focus here on Women's Small Business Month. I got a feeling if you're like me, most folks have a mentor in their life, somebody who's blazed a trail before them. Can you talk a little bit about that? And are you doing any kind of mentorship now, helping other folks out outside of your business, coaching high school student athletes, college student athletes?
Yeah, sure. So, different phases of our life, we have so many different mentors depending on where you're going. In college, it was my assistant coach. She was a huge mentor of mine. Growing up, it was my parents, and my husband is a mentor of mine. I have a mentor, Mike A, who's huge in my life, and watching these coaches do amazing things and impact people like Pat Summit has been a big impact in my life. Yeah, and through Bearcat Coaching and Mindset, I'm looking to be a mentor to these parents, teens, and coaches that need someone to help teach them tools and what they can do. And I'm a resource for anyone that wants help. That's after spending hours and hours and hours on Zoom and going to trainings and thinking about when is this all going to come to fruition, when am I going to be able to use these tools? And I feel like finally now I can take a step back and start coaching other people.
Absolutely awesome. And I don't want to dominate the conversation. If there's other questions or comments or thoughts from anybody else, would love to hear what anybody else has to say. Just feel free to unmute and flip on the camera and fire away.
My Northern Services ladies are on here. I'm sure they got something.
So if you could, distill it down to one or two, three things that really have helped you achieve everything you've achieved, and it sounds like you're busier than a one-arm paper hanger, as the kids say out on the football field. How do you manage your time between having 4 kids, helping out with the family business, starting your own business, maybe coaching, some of that kind of stuff on the side too? Yeah, how do you do it?
That's a great question. For me, it's creating habits. I am super into health and fitness and routine. I get up at 5:30 every day. I work out in the morning. I get my stuff done before I get the kids up and get them ready for school. I have a list of things that I want to do. We set 90-day goals. So every quarter I have things that I need to hit and do, and it's a timeline. I create leverages and rewards. So if I don't hit it, I have to do something. That's pretty painful. If I reach it, then I can reward myself. So it's staying super disciplined in what I do. I also realize how I feel and the confidence I have when I am taking care of myself and I'm accomplishing these things. When we're not serving others and we're not paying attention to our health and we're not creating healthy habits, things start to go south in a hurry. And I think, talking about COVID and when that happened, I think a lot of people, including myself, formed some pretty unhealthy habits and realized in a hurry that we have to do something different. And if you want different, you have to do different. And then stop making excuses. When I stopped making excuses of, when I first moved out here, it was a little frustrating because I love to play ball and there wasn't any place to play basketball against other women. And I was kind of angry at the situation. And when I took ownership of you made this choice, so you better make the best of it. And I found other resources. And that's just one example, but there's so many things in our life where we want to put blame on other people or our situations. And ultimately, if we take our responsibility and the only thing that we're responsible is for how we react, our perception, and any inaction or action that we take to a situation. And those are the 3 things that we can control ourselves.
Awesome. Sorry, I turned the camera off and the microphone off, so
You're
in
good.
between, but great ideas, great guidance. Yeah. Other thoughts, questions, comments? Again, I do not want to be the only person asking questions here. Hearing nothing at the moment, and if you have anything, by all means, flip on the microphone. Your background is entrepreneurship. You started, several businesses now, managing a business manager of a third. What kind of advice do you have for somebody thinking about starting a business and then actually getting it going? What kind of advice and guidance do you have for folks in that position?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because I didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial home. Both my parents worked for the same business after they were done with school for their entire careers. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I married into an entrepreneurial family. My mother-in-law started her own daycare business. My father-in-law started his own plumbing and heating company. And so I took on that spirit with them and learned how to overcome that fear of putting yourself out there. And I have found that once you find something you're passionate about with entrepreneurial, that it's something that you're willing to pursue and set others' opinions aside and just ultimately go for it. The other thing is that somebody's already done it before. And when you can go out there and learn from the greatest people on earth and find those people, you can do it better and do it faster. And you don't have to suffer through the pain that they once went through because they didn't know any better. So find somebody that's already done it and just replicate what they have done, but put your spin on it.
Awesome. So with that being said, can you distill down the top maybe 2 or 3 lessons that you've learned in all, in your life, not just the business side, but okay, you're going to UMC Crookston. You are a Golden Eagle in a town with 1 Arby's, 1 McDonald's. Sorry, I went to school in Mayville. I know Crookston well.
Yeah.
So small town, you're moved to a town a third the size of Willmar, went to college for 4 years or 5, whatever it took you up there. And then this journey along, what are a few things you've learned to pass along to others that are probably going to be in the same boat or are in the same boat right now?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's don't judge other people. Like, you don't know their journey, you don't know where they're from, and ultimately either you could help them or they could help you. And I think when we approach situations like that, instead of judging someone, there's so much more opportunity out there. So that's one lesson. There's so many people that have been in my life that have mentored me or, inspired me or even doubted me, which has pushed me to do other things. That everyone that comes into your life is there to help you in some sort of way, whether you feel it's positive or negative. The other one is stop worrying about what other people think. It's easy to say that, but ultimately we all battle that. And, and there's days too where I get myself into a little bit of a rut saying, well, I'm worried about what others think or things like that. And ultimately this is your journey. This is what you're going after. If they haven't done it before, if they haven't been there, if they haven't parented 4 kids, if they've never started their own business, they have no right to tell you what's right or wrong. And so ultimately, this is your life and your journey, and do what you need to do.
Awesome. Please, I don't want to be the only one asking questions. No, this is great. I mean, I love these. I'd love to be like a television interviewer asking questions because I just learn so much talking with people. I love bios. How do you learn? What's your go-to source? Are you a podcast person? Are you, a reader? How do you learn and how do you grow?
So many different ways. I am a daily podcast listener. I listen to books when I drive. I read books. I'm reading like 3 or 4 books right now. It's just constant. Training groups, different people, surrounding yourself with people that are pushing and trying to do better and do different, learning from them, asking the right questions. So many times we just don't ask questions to people when we could be picking their brains, and they're happy to share with you what they've been through and that kind of thing.
You mentioned you listen to podcasts. Are there any special podcasts that you like? or would recommend, and same with books as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it shifts with time to time, but I'm a daily Rob Dial mindset mentor. He's on my daily list. Mel Robbins is another one of my favorites. I have a few trades ones that I listen to too, but those are the two main ones that I'm pretty dedicated to.
And books?
And then books, gosh, there's so many good ones. It's hard to pick out one. I'm reading one right now. It's called Range. This one is by David Epstein. It's really good, and it talks about, I can relate to it because it talks about having experience in so many different areas and being able to use all those skills and bring them together. Reading Simon Sinek, Start With Why right now. I'm just looking at my book collection here, and man, I don't know, there's so many good ones. Napoleon Hill is one of my favorite authors. Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, and all the coaches books, you name it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I see we have a question pop up. What is your favorite podcast that helped you in your everyday and professional life?
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely Rob Dial. That one has been, Greg and I listen to that one every morning or whenever he has a new episode on. I'm trying to think. And Mel Robbins is within the last year. She's pretty incredible too. Yeah, I would say those two are my greatest listens. School of Greatness by Lewis Howes is another good one. Yeah.
If you could talk to your 10-year-old self in junior high school or elementary, whatever you were when you were 10 years old,
Yep.
what advice would you give a 10-year-old girl who wants to go somewhere and make something of herself and be something like you have been?
Yeah, absolutely. Stop doubting. Stop worrying about what other people think. Just go for it. Think bigger. Like, stop thinking so small and worrying about what other people think of you. That would be my number one advice.
Other questions?
What if you're not motivated? What would be your one thing that turns you around? A song that you listen to, or something to pump yourself up?
Not motivated. For me personally, that's a great question, Sheila. It's working out. That seems to get everything flowing. It doesn't matter if I feel sick or if I'm just tired. If I just do one thing to work out, whether it's go for a walk, run on the treadmill, lift weights, there's something about it that creates momentum for me. It's just one step. I mean, so many times we think that in order to be motivated, we have to change so many different things, but really it's just 1% better each and every day. We can't be so hard on ourselves and say, all this has to change in 1 second. There's just steps that need to take place, and we stack these habits on top of each other. Everything that I do didn't happen overnight with my habits. It has been something that I have stacked time over time over time. And you think about like working out every morning. Well, I had 4 kids. That didn't happen, every morning, but I made a priority to know that in order for me to be there for my kids, and when I put a why behind it, that motivates me too. So when I put a why behind, I need to have energy for my children. I need to have energy for our employees at Northern Services. And now this coaching, I have to be in my best shape, best health, best mindset, and constantly work at that. Otherwise, I'm letting them down. I have a role to play and big dreams to catch up to.
Sorry, my computer's a little slow.
You're good,
when
Jordan.
I click on the button, it takes a second or two. There we go. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice. Last call. Awesome. Well, thank you, Kathy. We appreciate your time and your inspiration for everybody, and good ideas and ways to, as they say on the football field, kick butt and take names all at the same time. With everybody living such a busy life and being pulled so many different directions, We really appreciate you having a little time for us. If folks want to reach out to you, do you want to just let folks know the easiest way to contact you?
Yeah, just email me. It's Cathy, CATHY at bearcatmindset.com.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Cathy. We appreciate your time. This is our Renville County HRA EDA Lunch and Learn standing event happening pretty much every month on the second Wednesday of the month over the noon hour in an online format. If you don't already, follow us on social media. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, or I guess they call it X these days. Also, we have a LinkedIn account, so we'll keep you posted on that. And if you follow us, you'll stay up to date with what's going on around the Renville County EDA, new programs, things happening, and such. So thank you again, Cathy. Thanks to all of you for making the time and choosing to live and do business in Renville County. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much.